Welcome back. Today, Chuck Holland is here to give us a broadband update. There's been a lot of exciting changes, and he's going to bring us up to speed.
It's good to be back. I know the last time I was here, it was in early June, and we were talking about our July analog schedule removal, but here it is in August, mid-August here, and we're going to be talking about the next channels that we have being removed in October.
Okay.
So it's really good. So I have an agenda prepared for everybody today, and I have some very specific goals I want to be able to get across today, right? So goal number one, we want to talk about the analog channel removal that's happening in October this year. We're going to be removing our next batch of analog channels. The next goal that we have is we'll talk about our internet services upgrades that we've been doing over the summer. We did some very modest upgrades last summer to be able to increase some speeds, but we've done even more work this summer to make your experience even better. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about where we're at with West Coast Internet and the cable modems that he needed to replace. Remember, there was 4,000 cable modems that they're obligated to replace by the end of 2019. I'll let you know where we're at there. We'll also talk a little bit about West Coast Internet services. What kind of services? What are they obligated to support in our community, and what they're not obligated to support in our community. So I want to clarify what West Coast Internet's responsibilities are. And then another exciting thing we got going on with us as far as our broadband improvement project is our new channel guide updates that we're looking at. Right now, the version of channel guide that we have is it's about 10 versions behind, so we're getting that up to speed. So I'll cover each of these in detail.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So analog channel removal, and I know we do get some questions up here. People come upstairs looking to see, what's being deleted, what's not being deleted. So
right. Well, that's great. So as you know, we're a mixed, a hybrid type cable solution. We provide analog channels, standard definition channels, and high definition channels. The standard definition and high definition channels are digital. The analog channels are obviously analog. So what we're trying to do, it's no longer a requirement since 2008 to have analog channels on your network. So we're really trying to clean that up here and go to an all digital solution. So we have about 20 or so analog channels that we have left to remove. I have a list of these channels up here. There's a slide up there. You can see where you can see the actual channel name and the number. I won't read the number, but just basically, C-SPAN, C-SPAN 2, ESPN Classic, ESPN Sports, ESPN 2 Sports, Fox Sports Net West, Fox Sports Net Prime Ticket, and Stars Encore. Now, we're not getting rid of these channels. These channels are already being broadcast in standard definition and high definition. They're just not going to be able to be viewed on an analog TV. People will ask, well, what's an analog TV? Well, if your TV is thicker than 3 foot and it's got a tube on the front, most likely it's an analog TV. If you have a flat panel TV, a set-top box, or a DVR, there's no impact to you. These are just for the folks who have an analog television.
Okay, and then remind us again, if you have an analog TV, what are some of the things you need to do?
Right. There's only 2 things you can do with an analog TV. Number one, you can get a set-top box for $7.25 a month and plug it into that analog TV to keep it alive. Or you just have to go buy a low-end flat panel TV for a couple $100. I think that's the better investment.
Well, you get a lot more when you have those types of TVs.
Yeah, exactly.
And they take up less space.
And again, as I mentioned before, if you're going from an analog TV to a flat panel digital TV, it's going to be a much better viewing experience for you.
Exactly.
So those analog channels are going to be removed on October 8th, 2018. And again, if you have any questions or comments, just call Resident Services and they'll be able to answer your questions.
All right, excellent.
Okay? All right.
The next slide I really like a lot because it kind of gives us an idea of the way it works.
Right.
So,
so let's talk about goal number 2 here. The goal number 2 here is our internet services infrastructure updates that we've done. Right. Last year we did some pretty modest internet system upgrades to our system. They were able to triple the bandwidth for our clients. For those clients who are getting 5 megabytes down and 1 megabyte up, they're now getting 15 megabytes down and 3 megabytes up. And all the way up to our top tier service, where our tier number 4, where our residents are getting 100 megabytes down, and I do believe it's 15 megabytes up. But that's great. It was great for speed, right? So I'll refer people to this slide, and here's what we've done this summer to update to make your experience even better. Looking at this slide here, we have what it says the cable modem termination system, right? That's what we've been working on this summer. So we really call that the CMTS, the cable modem termination system. What that does it takes our internet connection from the outside world that West Coast Internet provides to us. It brings it into our head-end cable TV plant.
Okay.
We have our own cable TV plant here. We don't have Cox or Time Warner. We have our own actual cable TV plant that the email is fed into. Once it's fed into our head end, it goes out to your homes through something called a CMTS.
Okay.
Earlier this year, and even like, for the last, I guess, decade or so, and earlier through midsummer, we only had one CMTS. This one CMTS only could provide a certain amount of bandwidth to all of our residents. That one CMTS could only bring 8 gigabytes of capacity to all of our various nodes. And that 8 gigabytes of capacity was shared by 10,000 users.
Right.
So what would happen, we'd have residents, when they connect multiple devices to their network and their neighbors are all streaming Netflix on Friday, the more devices you have on the network, the slower the speed gets, okay? So we've done something really fantastic. And if we go into the next slide, here's what we've been doing. This is very high level, very layman's term. Essentially what we've done is we've doubled the capacity of our CMTS. We were able to remove our analog channels, or the ones that we removed this earlier this year, to increase our transmission capacity, the highway. We widened the highway. Then what we've done, we added another bridge here. We have CMTS 1 and CMTS 2, right?
Okay.
What that has done is been able to, we doubled up the transmission components to get out there to the homes. So what that's done, what's really exciting, the original CMTS only had 8 channels. The new CMTS, each of these CMTS units have 16 channels. So now we're really increasing the highway, really widening the highway here to allow more traffic to go on the highway. We're not talking about faster speeds. What we're talking about is more devices being hooked up to the network, getting a consistent speed.
Okay.
So we've gone from an 8 gigabyte total capacity to an 80 gigabytes of maximum capacity just within the last 6 months.
That's a lot.
Now we're not piping in 80 gigabytes of data yet, but as time goes on and we have more and more internet users, more and more people watching TV through the internet, now we have the capacity to expand. So that's some really exciting stuff, and we're really hoping people at home, when they're watching Netflix and Hulu and have any kind of over-the-top service, that they're not going to get that buffering and that kind of
that's
lag.
what I was gonna say,
that kind of
that's such a
buffering and
pain.
lag time. Yeah.
You're right in the middle of a really good spot in a movie and then it's buffering.
Yeah, no, it's very frustrating, and it happens at my house frequently, but not infrequently, but it does. So this is something that's going to be really, really important for the community. Again, we're not raising speeds; we're just giving you the ability to have more devices with less signal.
Right. Okay.
So, kind of looking at this next slide, this is kind of an example of how cable modems work in general, right? Let's say I have a 30 megabyte connection and I have my TV hooked up to it. I'm getting 30 megabytes connection, but now I'm hooking my PC up to it. The speed, see how the speed went slower?
Right.
Now I have 2 devices sharing a 30 megabyte connection. That next device, it's a little bit slower. Now I start adding my tablets, my phone, my cameras. Now everything bogs down slower and slower and slower. Right. That's where we're at earlier this year. But with the enhancements we made over the summer, this is what we're really hoping to expect to achieve. If you're looking at the next slide here, is now if you have your TV, your smartphone, your tablets, and you have you're paying for a 30 megabyte connection, we want to make sure that all the devices are consistently giving you a 30 megabyte connection across all of your devices. So that's the goal of this project. We know that before we did these upgrades, all the nodes were about 80 to 85% capacity. We've, over the last couple of weeks, we've been doing some bench testing and some just monitoring, and now we're anywhere between 15 and 20% utilization. So we've really dropped down the utilization by about 60%.
That's great.
Okay.
I mean,
and we got plenty of room to grow.
Well, yeah. I mean, and then you're not going to have more than your 18,000 generally here. So that's a nice thing because it will always stay somewhat the same.
Right, and I'll even clarify that we have 12,736 homes.
Okay.
Right, about 10,000 of those homes have internet. But I can assure you, within the next 4 or 5 years, I'm sure every single home will probably have internet access. Not only just internet access, where you just have one PC in the back room, where you have internet access where your appliances are hooked up to it, your smartwatches, your printers, your tablets, your PCs, your computers, everything will be hooked up to the internet. And eventually your cable TV boxes, like the new whole home DVR, they're also connected to the internet. So we're really preparing for 3 to 5 years out here.
Smart, very smart. Excellent. Okay.
All right, next. I'll talk a little bit about West Coast Internet. West Coast Internet is our internet service provider. They're obligated to provide internet services to our community, the bandwidth as well as the cable modems. We renewed their contract in 2017 for 3 years. as part of that negotiation, they are under obligation to replace 4,000 cable modems. These 4,000 cable modems are what we call DOCSIS 2.0. It's 10 to 15-year-old technology. What we're trying to do is get every single home that has internet access onto DOCSIS 3.0. Why? Is because those DOCSIS 3.0 modems are more efficient. It takes less bandwidth for me to give you a better service than the old DOCSIS 2.0. So along with removing the analog, doubling up on our capacity with our CMTS, and replacing these cable modems, we're going to be a really, really efficient network very, very shortly.
Yeah.
Good news is, out of those 4,000 modems that West Coast Internet was obligated to replace by the end of 2019, I just talked to Paul Caronto over at West Coast Internet, and they've replaced 3,000 of those cable modems since June of 2017 last year.
Oh, well,
so they're
there you
well
go.
ahead. Yeah, they're well ahead of their schedule to replace all of those. It's in their best interest as well to be able to make the system as more efficient as possible. Okay.
All right,
so that's really good. They're doing a great job. They're going to be ahead of schedule. So it's looking definitely by the end of 2019, those cable modems will all be replaced.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Great.
All right. And then let's talk a little bit about West Coast Internet. These guys sometimes they get to be the bad guy a lot of times when folks are having problems at home with their internet connection. Their PC's not working, their smartphone's not connecting, their Wi-Fi's not working, and somehow West Coast Internet they're taking the brunt of the customer service responsibility on that. When actually it's not theirs. From a high-level overview, I'll break out our contract here. West Coast Internet, they're obligated to provide 4 tiers of service. They have our entry-level service for $23.50 and our advanced-level service for $48.25, I do believe. It's 100 megabytes, 15 megabytes, or 100 megabytes. So they're obligated to pay to bring bandwidth to the community. They also provide us with cable modems. When you pay for your installation of your internet service and you sign up for it, you pay for a cable modem, right? Those cable modems are supplied by West Coast Internet. And they're under obligation to be able to install those cable modems at a competitive cost, at a competitive price. Okay, that's part of the deal. And then lastly, when you do sign up for the services and you get your cable modem installed, they do provide some general tech support. Once they're in there, they'll get your PC hooked up, get your printer hooked up, they'll do it as a one-time deal while you're getting the your cable modem installed.
Yes.
But after the fact, anything in your home, your router, your Wi-Fi connection, your PC, your tablets, your smartphone, your printers, those are the residents' responsibility. Those are not West Coast Internet's responsibility. What we're really seeing here is 9 times out of 10, when people have internet access issues or internet issues at home, it's a problem inside the home. It's a problem with their Wi-Fi computer, their Wi-Fi router. Either their Wi-Fi router's 10 years old or something's not configured correctly.
Right.
And so that's the resident's responsibility. They'll have to engage a technical company, a technical support company to come in and help, troubleshoot their PC, troubleshoot their smartphone. That's not West Coast Internet's responsibility. But they are a technical company. You can't pay for them to come out and come and help you out. Right. So their cable modem service, they'll come out and get you all hooked up. But they're not doing free technical support. If their obligation is keep that cable modem. Once that cable modem is up and running, that's the end of their responsibility. But you can contact West Coast Internet and have them and pay for a fee. It's $45 for a truck roll. They will come out and help you troubleshoot your network. Otherwise, you have to find a third-party technical support company to get all your in-home network stuff working. So I just wanted to point that out there.
Perfect. All right.
All right. Now, last but not least is some stuff that you've probably seen some communications go out with. I think it was What's Up in the Village, the weekly newsletter. And we're going to talk about our channel guide. So this channel guide, I'm not talking about the Channel 3 guide. Unfortunately, those people that don't have a set-top box or a DVR, they're going to have to be stuck with that Channel 3 guide. But for our 6,000 homes and 10,000 devices that have a set-top box or a DVR, there's a channel guide on there, meaning when I pick up the remote control, I hit guide, it gives me a list of my channels, I can see what's playing at what time, and I can see a little bit of picture-in-picture. Well, we're upgrading that version. We're on version 25 now. We're going to be going to version 32. So over the, I do believe we have, it's going to take us 2 hops to get to the newest version. We're moving everybody from version 25 to 29, which has already been completed now. There's no change. It looks very, very similar. So there's some increased DVR functionality, but very simple. The next upgrade is going to be very visible to everybody. So what we want to do, can you go back to the previous slide? I want to go over what we're trying to do. Yeah. So objective. So why are we upgrading the channel guide? You know, the objective number one is we want to upgrade the software. Right now we're 10 versions behind. We want to make sure we're staying up and staying modern and current. We don't want to let ourselves get so far behind where we've got to do these double hops and these double upgrades. So we don't want to do that. Objective number two, we want to provide a modern channel guide experience. When I'm at home watching TV and I'm at Spectrum, I get a pretty cool experience. It works efficiently. It's very smooth. The channel guide's in high definition. I've got a lot of great features and functions. Well, we want to be able to offer those type of services to our residents as well. With the current guide that we have right now, it's not made for widescreen TVs. It's not high definition. It looks very dated and generic, but we're going to be upgrading that.
Perfect.
Objective number three, with the new software updates, we know that a lot of folks, one of the biggest complaints we get about our set-top boxes and DVRs is if people want to turn on and off their closed captioning, they've got to actually physically restart the actual cable box to get that to work.
Oh.
That's how outdated our stuff is. But now with this new version we have in place right now, you're able to turn on and off closed captioning without having to reboot the TV or reboot the cable box, excuse me. So that's a big win. And also, well, for the DVRs, it has some really increased functionality on how to set up and record your shows and organize and save and store your shows in different folders and so on and so forth. So very good experience, enhanced features for your DVR. And then last but not least is we need to continually stay up to date with current trends and industry leaders like Cox and Spectrum. When we have folks move in from Orange County, from other parts of Orange County, move into the village and they turn on their TV and they go to our channel guide, they're like, what is this? This thing is so outdated. It makes us look very, very unprofessional and like we're not taking care of the system. In all actuality, we're doing everything we can to provide the best level of experience at the most affordable cost that we can, and part of doing that is keeping up with it. Instead of waiting 10 years, so we're under the gun for all these massive infrastructure updates. It's my goal is to be able to do, how about we do a little bit of infrastructure updates and software updates every year so we stay up with the current trends and technology. Let's go and take
let's take a quick look at the channel guide and you can tell us a little bit about that and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, great.
So good.
Thank you. So you can see here's the current channel guide you have right now. You can see a lot of times it's not in the right aspect ratio. It's not the right size to fit on a flat panel TV unless you expand it out. It looks very dated. It has never been marketed. It says digital cable. What we're going to be doing, we're going to be putting our media services logo on. We're going to be branding it, making it look really good. And we're going to be modern. That's not in high definition either. But if you go to the next screen that we have here.
Oh, that looks much better.
Yeah, here's the latest version we have here. That's the latest channel guide that we have. It's up to date with Cox, Spectrum, Charter, and it looks very up to date and very modern. So that's what we're up to. All these channel guides will be updated and all 6,000 DVRs and set-top boxes over the next 30 days.
Nice.
So it's going really, really well.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've made so much progress already just in a couple months. So
absolutely.
Congratulations, and more to come.
Yep. Thank you very much.
All right. Excellent. Thanks for the update.
Thank you very much.
All right. And we'll be right back after this. So watch out for all those excellent broadband updates.